Hello, Mia DeBolt here, bringing you more transparency in trading. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today is actually Sunday, and I'm going to be reviewing the trade that I took on Friday the 24th. This will be a recap of day 12 of the funded trader. I still haven't started my FTMO repeat challenge yet, but I will be doing that very shortly with a high quality trade. So without further ado, let's dive into the charts and see what kind of trade that I took on Friday. Okay, so Friday morning, I woke up at around 3 o'clock my time and rolled around for an hour. But because I have this new adjusted rule of 7 hours over the last 7 days of sleep, I actually got up around 4 o'clock and had my morning routine and dove into the charts. So this is kind of what I saw on Friday morning, and I saw that there was a really big opening gap. There was 5:30 red folder news, so I waited for that to transpire, and the DXY was still pushing up. So we had some bullishness this week, and I was expecting this daily wick, consequent encroachment, so 50% of that daily wick to be the next target. And so that's kind of where I was looking at this weekly high as kind of the end terminus for this day. But it was also Friday, so I don't expect a lot from Fridays, but it was the last Friday of the month. So I was kind of expecting price to run, and it just didn't, but that's okay. I didn't have high expectations until the PM session, and that was kind of a flop anyway. Okay, so this is the big opening range that I saw on the E-mini S&P. And so because we had this big run down overnight, it wasn't something that I was looking for this to continue up and to fill this completely, because we took both this daily low and we also took some other liquidity overnight. So I wasn't looking for a big retracement around the 6:30 New York equity open. And so this is kind of where I started to really chomp at the bit to get in and see if there was actually going to be a trade for me. All right, so I like to wait to see what transpires after the New York equity open. And so I did wait. There's this 5-minute fair value gap, this the old low here. And I also saw that buy side liquidity was here. There's a short-term high right there. And so I was waiting for that to be taken, and it did get taken. And so I'm just going to speed this up so that we can kind of jump into the trade that I took. So you can see that there was a big displacement after that buy side liquidity was taken, and then also a reaction from the old daily low. And so that's kind of where I was chomping at the bit to get in, and was not necessarily waiting for my breaker pattern, because I did know that there was a volume imbalance down here, and it was likely not going to continue up to retrace. So we had this weekly low down here, and that was a interim target, and I was eventually looking for a price to continue down. So I entered this, and now I'm creating some of the alerts that I like to create. There's a partial here that I want to take, and then also another partial here, and I wanted to see how far price was going to go, if it was going to be a big range day. And so that's kind of where I'm both looking and watching the E-mini as well as watching the DXY while price is going. Okay, so I'm still just analyzing both higher time frame and lower time frame, and this is starting to go pretty nicely. And so I do move my TP. If you noticed on my one-click trade, I actually didn't set a TP, so I had to set a TP and make sure that I have some type of target, and I just went to the daily, and I found a target that I wanted it to go down to. All right, so I'm trimming risk here, and that is definitely a place that I don't want it to return to. And so I do have 1% on this trade. And once I break this structure, this is where I take about 20% off. So it was 48 and change as far as lot size, and so I took 10 off, and I didn't want to slow down enough to do 25% and do the calculator and whatnot, but I did want to take a partial and pay myself, because if you do remember, I was 0.56 underwater from the previous day of trading, and so I wanted to start recouping that, and obviously I'm already above that amount, but I wanted to take partials so that I started having some more peace of mind. So price is going really nicely. Created a 5-minute fair value gap and a 5-minute bearish engulfing candle, which I love to see. And so again, I'm trimming my risk to a reasonable place. So I like to trim it to order blocks, and so that was the 5-minute order block. and I'm also going to get ready for another partial here with the weekly low. So obviously I was looking for a lot bigger run to the downside. It did move a lot overnight, so I was considering that as well, but who knows how far our price is going to go. Okay, so that is where I likely could have taken a partial, but now I'm thinking about it, and so I do take another 10 off, and so that's another 20% of the trade. And so now I'm at 0.61, and so here's the important part about that. It gave me peace of mind because now even if price comes back all the way to my stop loss, my trailing stop, I'm at break even. So I already recouped what I had lost the previous day, and so now I'm at pretty much break even on the account. So that's a pretty important part of this trade. So that's the reason I was taking partials, not just because big targets were met. So this starts to retrace, and I'm just going to fast forward because if you were watching price action on Friday, the DXY started to consolidate. It didn't make a higher high, and like ICT said, if it doesn't have a higher high and the S&P makes a lower low, then there's some divergence going on. And so that's kind of where I didn't know this at the time. Obviously, it's something in hindsight and something that I got training on over the weekend through his mentorship. But I was kind of looking at this consolidation. I really don't like long terms of consolidation because it usually means reversals. And so that's where I started to think about just closing this all together. All right, so 5 minutes, 15 minutes is about to close. And so it does come down, create a little fair value gap here, and it doesn't make a lower low, I don't believe. Or if it does, it's very short term and it goes back into the range as well. So I don't like that. I have that 1 minute fair value gap. I want that to be run away from, and I want this price to continue. It's also consolidating around this weekly low that it took. And so it's not really beautiful price action, and it starts to run towards the buy side here. So it ran through that 1 minute fair value gap, and now it's running through it again. And so we do have a volume imbalance up here. I believe it's on the E-mini as well. So I like to verify volume imbalances that I see on TradingView with the actual E-mini data. And so here's where I just see this big bullish candle, and I really don't like it. So I'm looking to see if this is just a short liquidity grab of the buy side liquidity. And so this is kind of where I am looking at what the reaction is here to this fair value gap. Is it going to continue down? Is it just a Judas swing short term? But this 1 minute candle starts to retract again, and so it's not a good sign. And so this is where I close it out, and I close it out at 1.18. And so for the day, I am positive, and for my account, I was positive. And so I was really happy with that. That was the last part of that trade, and I didn't take any more trades for the day. So what was important about that was that not only was it a big target that was taken, liquidity was already taken, it was also a Friday. So I had to consider all of those factors, as well as the DXY was not continuing up. So it wasn't on a big bullish run, and it was a Friday. So I am happy with how I traded, how I managed that trade. Yes, of course, I could have just closed it out at the bottom and probably gotten a little bit more out of that trade. However, I have no regrets. Okay, so this is the recap of the funded trader. So I have a little bit of equity to play with, and I am at 0.65%. So after I closed out that last bit, about 60% of the trade, it was a 1.18, but because of spreads, I actually got a little bit more out of the trade. So while it says 1.18 on my MT4, actually turned out to be about 1.21%. So that was the buy. Here's my partials, and really it just was a good day for me, just because I had put aside all of my angst about sleeping, and I was ready to go. I knew what I was looking for, and it just panned out for the day. So I'm really happy with the way that that trade happened. It of course is not as beautiful as 8%, and so that's kind of where my account needs to be by the end of this week. So I'm really looking to be more aggressive with my funded trader account, because I only have 4 days, and what do I have to lose, right? So as long as I have proper risk management, as long as I continue to build that profit cushion, I will be able to pass this phase of this challenge by Friday. All right, my friends, I hope that you enjoyed the recap of Friday's trading and get prepared for this week because we have a lot of red folder news, some orange folder news, and that's going to push price around. So I'm really looking forward to this week of trading. It's going to be the last week of the month, as well as it's going to be the last week before NFP week. So I don't like to trade that week. And so this will pretty much be the last week of my challenge, as well as the last week that I trade for a little bit. All right, my friends, I look forward to bringing another video to you very soon once I take another trade, and we'll give you another update of the funded trader account. All right, my friends, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.